Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm taking you on a journey of sorts, kind of. So basically we're doing digital art today, and about 2-ish years ago I created this digital painting, and at the time I wasn't particularly in love with it, but regardless I finished it and I made a speed paint video of it, and I absolutely wished I hadn't. But now time has passed, and I figured I'd revisit the idea of this character and redraw it to see how far I've come in these past 2 years. And the awesome part of all of this is, since some of you know from my last Friday video, I've been learning new things through Skillshare since they sponsored that video, and huge thank you to them again for sponsoring this one. And of course, if you don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills, and premium membership gives you unlimited access, so you can join the classes and communities that are basically just right for you. So whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving. For this video, I have been looking at dozens of different tutorials offered from Skillshare creators in digital art, and I absolutely fell in love with Gabrielle Brickey's digital art tutorials. I learned a ton specifically from her class, Painting Light and Shadow, the basics for portraits and characters. She goes over so much information pertaining to how effectively color characters depending on where your light source is. But the great thing about Skillshare is how incredibly affordable it is, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops, because it's less than $10 a month. And because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, you can sign up with the link in the description below and get a 2-month free trial. So with that said, I'm going to make this window smaller and put it to the side, and I'll just be referring back to it as my reference. And then I'm going to open a new canvas, and I'll be starting off with my sketch. And for my sketch, I don't use anything special. I just select my pencil and just get any sort of color and pretty much just block in stuff. Whoops. And this is why it's important to pay attention to which layer you're working on, because this happens. So I was working on my background layer, and you don't want that. You want to be working on your second layer above your background layer, so that when you go to erase, like so I'm gonna paint over it, and when I go to erase, it doesn't erase any of the background. So let's try that again. And so I'm really messy with this phase because I'm just really blocking in the pose, and that's pretty much it. Nothing about this stage has to be at all perfect. So basically, when I finish this really quick sketch, new layer, I lighten up my last layer, and then I choose a different color. So I guess I'll do, I don't know, purple. And then I do another sketch. And so when I've got that second sketch done, I go ahead and I delete my first one, and then I'll start a new layer. And for this one, I'll do the line art after I lighten the sketch up. So then on my new layer, I select black, and I go to my brush, and then I'll start doing my line art. So I always start with the eyes whenever I start lining anything. And even though I've moved on by now, I'm getting this weird creep factor from them. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I've put too many lashes right here and I didn't do it on this side. I don't know. I'm gonna let it sit for now though. And if it's still bugging me as I keep lining, then I'll see about doing something about it. It's just looking really weird and I can't figure it out. Maybe it's this eye shape, like this iris. I don't know. Let me see, was that it? It might have been. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna keep moving. One thing about me is I'm a bit of a fanatic of layers. So I just created a new layer now, even though I'm still only working on the line art, just to go ahead and line her face. And it just makes my life easier. Because what I'm trying to do is when intersections like this happen right here in this area that I'm circling, it would be tougher to fix and erase if I were working on just one layer. But when I finish a certain area, so now that I'm done doing her jaw and cheek, I go back to my original line art layer and I'll go ahead and erase the hair right here, the hairlines. And then I merge this layer together with the original line art layer so that it's all one. And I do that with everything. So for instance, if I'm gonna do this little hair Brett thing that she's got going on over here, let me zoom into it. I'll make a new layer and then I'll start working on it separately. Definitely feel like I've improved on the perspective of this hand over here because it looked super awkward in the original. I don't know, because now I'm looking at this and now I'm thinking, oh, this one looks awkward too. I don't know. This perspective of how she has her hand is just kind of weird in general. Maybe her palm is too long. Okay, I think that helped. Kind of like made the other fingers here and then her thumb. Still looks a little wonky, but I'm gonna let it sit for a bit before I think about changing it. And basically I just tried to not get too caught up in one particular spot because lately I've been just trying to be more conscious of my time because I've said in the past that I'm a slow artist in general, and that's definitely something I'm trying to work on. And then sometimes I like to take away my sketch just to see where I'm at with my line art, and it's looking pretty good. So then I put it back on and keep going. Okay. And with my line art done, I go ahead, delete my sketch layer so that I'm only left with my line art layer. And then I start my color picking process. But the cool thing is I do like the color scheme that I chose with the original one. So I'll just be getting my color dropper and picking up the color from the original. So I make a new layer underneath my line art layer. I'll title it Skin, and this is her base color for her skin. Okay, so base colors are done. I'm gonna throw in a background color, mostly because I did not like the stars that I made in the original. They just feel like a cop-out, like I just put something in there just to have in there. I didn't really care for it. I'm gonna stick with something simplistic for now and then see how it looks when I finish coloring. And so I'm gonna have my light source coming from here where I'm marking. So all the shadow would be like on this side mostly. I kind of wish I had made her eyes a different color. I don't know why I went with purple eyes with purple hair. I don't know. I feel like it dulls the impact of both the hair and the eyes. I don't know. Guess we'll see. Cool thing about digital art is if I don't like the color of the eyes towards the end, since I have the eye color on a different layer, I can just go ahead and change the hue of it to, I don't know, a blue or green or a brown. Okay, so I'm liking the eyes a little more because I went with more reddish purples for her hair, whereas I kept the eyes more bluish purples. It's an extremely subtle difference, but it's there. I still might change the eye color though. I really feel like I nailed the pattern that I was going for the first time. Just like these overlapping stripes kind of pattern. I know there's a name for it, but I can't think of it at the moment. It's like plaid, maybe? Is that what it is? I think so. The only thing is it's hard to show shadow. So what I do is when I have this sort of design or print, I create another layer on top of, let's say, the skirt, set it to multiply, and then I choose like a similar peachy kind of color, and then I just paint right over it. Nope, I don't like that color. It's too orange. Okay, that's a little bit more desaturated. And then I just kind of color in where my shadow would be. Another thing you could do is clipping group. That way it only colors on top of the skirt and not anywhere else. And yeah, that's pretty much how you would do shading, or that's pretty much how I do shading on certain areas, like the skirt. Do the same thing for the bow. So on the previous picture, I designed the belt to have a similar plaid kind of look, but I personally feel like that's too much plaid. So I'm putting in a heart design, seeing how that looks. And I don't like it, so I'm gonna delete it. Maybe I was onto something with the plaid, but it just felt like a lot of plaid. Maybe I'll just do like parallel lines going down. I like that. Doesn't look too bad. All right, so we don't have much left. I've got pretty much just the accessories to do, like the bow tie's gem, the crown, and her little butterfly clip thing she's got going on. Definitely wasn't a fan of this decorative clip in the previous one. It felt a little weird. I feel like the wings, I made these like weird designs, kind of like holes in it, and it just felt creepy looking and not pretty. So that definitely was not the effect I was going for. And then my favorite part is coloring in gems. It's just really pretty and satisfying to do. For the most part, gems tend to have a darker middle, and then I try and just blend it out a little bit so that it's not too harsh. And then I do a drop of like light around where the light source is, and then I do a reflective light towards the bottom. Circle gems are easier because most brushes that you'll use will be round, so just select a darker color for the middle, blend it out just a bit so it's not too harsh. Get a lighter color, put your light drop thing, and then a secondary one, and there you go. And when I do like gold areas or accents, I just go around the color wheel from brown to gold, sometimes orange to gold or yellow, and I do like stripes across. And it looks a little weird when I'm first doing it, kind of doesn't make sense, but when you start blending it out, it will. Because what I'm trying to mimic is the effect that gold gives off, the brassiness that gold gives off. So when I've laid all that color down, I then just get my watercolor brush and blend it all out. And when you blend it, not too much, because some harsh lines are good because it sort of mimics the way gold can look sometimes. But then we get this brassy kind of look that gold can give. And then still where there's shadow, I'll go in with a darker yellow or brownish kind of color and still try to mimic where there would be shadow. So I'm adding a bit of a drop shadow just to add something more to it, and I think it's pretty cool looking. And then I'm adding a gradient to these lines that I've made. All right, so I added a gradient to the lines, and a part of me wonders if it's too busy. I don't know, maybe not. I actually kind of like it. And now I'm just having fun with the dodge tool. Kind of feel like Ross at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this done before I spend way too much time on it trying to perfect it. I have this problem where I just keep adding things and then at the end I'm like, I hate it, trash. So I'm gonna call it done before I get too crazy. But overall, I think it came out really good and I'm really satisfied with it. I think in the original she felt just really wonky over here. I don't know if it was just body proportions or what. And in this one it just feels better. Everything flows really naturally, I feel, especially with the skirt. Just how I rendered the clothing just seems more natural and casual. I feel like I was really aiming for something else with this first one. So I'm really happy with what I was able to achieve in this second one. And I think I've definitely changed a lot. My style has changed a lot, that's for sure, in the last 2 years. And I uploaded this to my YouTube channel a year ago. And a year ago, my style wasn't that much different from this one either. But yeah, I'm really happy with what I'm doing now. But let me know what you guys think. Which one do you like? Do you like my old style from 2 years ago, or do you enjoy what I do now? Also, this liner will be available on my website at halalela.com. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.